What's up, horror fans? It's Danny from the Lassercast.
And Charlotte.
That's right. I'm officially back in my living room. I've tested negative. COVID is now a distant memory for me. Hopefully, knock on wood, for the foreseeable future. We're coming to you from...
Hawkins, Indiana.
Yeah. Greetings from Hawkins, Indiana. We are here to talk to you today about Stranger Things. Later this month, May 27th, Season 4 of Stranger Things is coming to Netflix. It is a 2-part season. Technically, on IMDb, it's listed as Seasons 4 and Season 5. The second half of the season is coming back in the summer, in July. But
how many
May 27th
episodes are in that one season?
I don't know. I didn't look that far ahead. But you know who's going to be in this season?
Who?
Robert Englund.
What?
Yeah. He's going to be in...
Like the Nightmare on Elm Street Robert Englund, who plays in every single movie except the stupid remake?
Yes. He is cast in Season 4. I don't know if he's going to be the villain.
That would be fun.
Did you watch the trailer, by the way, for Season 4?
Yes.
Okay, because that villain who, he looks really creepy. No, I don't think it is, but then again, it's Robert Englund, so he might have a much bigger role. Why would you cast him unless you had a specific horror-based plot for him in this show, right? Yeah. The whole point of Stranger Things from Seasons 1 to 3 is, putting you back into that early to mid-'80s. They throw their horror love all over the walls, literally. They have the
Evil Dead.
They have Evil Dead poster. The Thing. They have all.
They talk about the remakes.
There's a great scene in Season 3 where I actually paused this to explain to Charlotte. Lucas is drinking a new Coke.
New Coke.
And he tries to make the argument that new Coke is delicious because it's just like John Carpenter's The Thing. The original Thing from Another World is great, but the new Thing is even better. And so his view is, well, new Coke, the original Coke is great, but new Coke is great. And of course, he's probably the only person who ever had a new Coke and enjoyed it. Or
even had a real Coke.
Yeah. I just got done with a full rewatch of Season 3. One of the nice things about, having COVID and being locked in a room basically alone for several days is I get to just watch a bunch of stuff. I actually have a video coming up where I'll be talking about all the horror movies that I watched while I was quarantined away in my bedroom with COVID.
Quarantined away.
I know.
Locked in your bedroom.
But I just finished a Season 3 rewatch, and I did, you did a full rewatch, Seasons 1, 2, and 3 with Mom not too long ago, right?
Rewatch?
Well, yeah. Didn't you rewatch all of Stranger Things?
Mom rewatched it.
Oh, Mom rewatched it. Oh, okay. Yes. Mom rewatched it. You did a full watch. So let me just ask you straight off.
Yeah?
Which season is your favorite? Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Why would you even ask that question?
Well, I think my favorite season is still Season 1. I think Season 1 is great, but I think Season 3 is the second best season. Stop smacking me.
Well, you're totally wrong.
I think can we at least agree that...
Season 2 is...
yeah.
It's not bad, but it's just not the greatest.
Yes. Season 2 is the Temple of Doom of...
small.
It's the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom of the Stranger Things seasons. It's fine, but it's easily ranks third on my list. If you're a Temple of Doom absolute lover, if it's your favorite Indiana Jones movie, tell me in the comments why I'm wrong about that. But I think most people, when they're ranking their Stranger Things seasons, Season 2 tends to go towards the bottom, and we were going to do a Season 2 and 3 recap.
But why even?
It's not even a why even. I just feel like Season 2, Season 3 kind of picks up with the whole story of Season 2. In fact, the villain, the Mind Flayer, the monster, is the same monster. Just what I love about Season 3 is that, and this is me being a history teacher, it adds in a lot of the Cold War, 80s Cold War stuff with all the Russians.
Oh, yeah.
I love how they make references to another 80s movie.
Who do you work for?
Yeah. They make references to another 80s movie, Red Dawn, which was a movie about young kids in the 80s who have to, like, fight back against a Russian invasion. So
true.
The best part about Stranger Things from the minute they started, and I think you'll agree with me, is there's not just one great character. No. There's not just 4 great characters in the 4 lead boys. There's not just 5 great characters once you add Elle into the mix. Basically, every character on this show is so great. And I actually wrote up a list because what I love about this season more than the other 2 but it breaks up all of these amazing characters into 4 groups. And we follow these 4 specific groups of characters throughout the 8 episodes. And then, of course, by the middle of episode 7, all the characters finally kind of come together at the end. So you have group number 1.
Dustin, Erica, Steve, and Robin.
Dustin, Erica, Steve, and Robin. We meet Steve and Robin. We meet Robin in this season, who is a tremendously great character.
I love
she works with Steve at Scoops Ahoy.
Scoops Ahoy.
The ice cream store.
It should be called Baskin.
Her parents, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but
what?
The actress who plays Robin, she's the daughter of Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke was just, you didn't watch Moon Knight. I'm trying to think if there's anything you would know Ethan Hawke from. Probably not. Uma Thurman is one of my all-time favorite actresses from Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, you would definitely will, as you get older, you will see more of the movies that she was in. But Steve and Robin, and then Steve, of course, is super excited because his best friend in the world comes home from sleepaway camp. Dustin. And he has his girlfriend from across the country who we only get to see later on in one of the great comedy scenes.
Yes,
maybe in...
Dusty Bun.
Yeah. What was her name?
Susie.
Susie Pooh. Yeah. Oh my God. I was rewatching it the other night, and when they hit that never-ending story moment, it is fantastic. And then this already unlikely trio is joined by Lucas's younger sister, Erica, who they appeal for her to kind of join the group because she's small and can fit into an air shaft. And Dustin has this great line where he's like, "You can't spell America without Erica." And she's really funny. She has this great back and forth with Dustin over...
I'm not a nerd.
Exactly. And why is she a nerd?
Because she watches My Little Pony.
Well, she watches My Little Pony, and she's also a genius at math, and also has, like, in-depth political and economic conversations. She, like, argues about communism and stuff like that. I always have this conversation with my friends where we always joke around the difference between a nerd and a geek. So, like, I always thought about it like a nerd is somebody who loves to do schoolwork and, like, does all of their schoolwork really well.
Where a geek is just, like, this guy who's, like, a person who's obsessed with one thing. Or, like, a couple of things.
Or,
like games, horror.
Exactly. Geekdom, to me, has to do with fandoms. So, like, I'm a horror geek. I'm a sports geek. I'm thank you, and my wife from across the room. I'm a pro wrestling geek. These are like my fandoms that I'm obsessed with. Whereas, like, I feel like if you're in the math club, you would be more considered a nerd. I want to make this very clear. Nerds and geeks, we're all part of the same, loving family. I'm not trying to disparage them. I'm openly admitting to being a geek. But I do love that they have this dialogue, Dustin and Erica. The 4 of them, they end up...
Dustin is just like, My Little Pony is about ponies and castles and mystical things, so it's like a mystical things nerd.
And then she goes, how do you know about My Little Ponies? And what does he say?
I'm a nerd.
I'm a nerd. They end up trying to solve this Russian code, and then they end up accidentally being transported in this secret elevator down into the underground Russian base where they have a laser that is opening the door to the Upside Down, which is why the Mind Flayer in a effect is back in this season. What did you think about the Mind Flayer in this season? We'll get back to the characters. What did you think about the Mind Flayer in here compared to season 2?
I just feel like the one in season 2, it didn't show itself much. Oh yeah, show off. And I just feel like in season 2 we got that good glimpse in Will's like upside down moment, and then it was inside of him, but we didn't really get to see it. And in this episode, it's like we just like have like no control over what we can or can't see.
Yeah.
It's just Mind Flayer.
Yeah. This season, he's also a lot goopier.
Oh, yeah. The other one was, like, more shadowy.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the whole point, is, like, he was living in Will. He was, like, part of Will.
And then,
he was,
like, he became, like, this slimy, goopy, bloody...
With all the chemicals and the people who were, like, their minds were being flayed, and then they end up dying to become part of him. Real nasty, gross stuff. I thought the Mind Flayer in this season looked amazing. I will say, if I'm going to nitpick this season, for as cool as the Mind Flayer looked, the Mind Flayer does almost nothing, aside from growling and looking really cool.
Grr.
You know, I made the point to you, he kind of looks like the alien queen in the way that, like, he opens his mouth and the tentacles come out. He also, if you've ever seen this 90s aquatic horror film, Deep Rising, there's a lot of Deep Rising. The monster in that movie kind of reminds me of the Mind Flayer here.
Also the Strain.
Oh, yeah, the Strain. The vampires in the Strain, definitely. Huh? The way that they have, like, the tongues almost like tentacles.
So back to characters. Then after the Dustin, Erica, Steve, and Robin group, we have Joyce, Murray, and...
Smirnoff. Alexei.
Smirnoff.
Yeah.
Alexei.
Yeah.
I absolutely love, even though he was kind of like a villain.
He was the Bob in this episode. I feel
he
like
was mostly the episode?
In this season, yeah. The way that both season 2 and season 3, they make you kind of really fall in love with this kind of side character, and then right at the ending,
those two groups have to be my favorite.
They kill the side character off kind of out of nowhere, and you're like, no. But that whole group, that's the adult group. That group is they're the group that is they're on the run. They're trying to uncover this conspiracy with the Russians. They have Alexei, who they've kidnapped, and they're trying to find the Soviet base. There's also this great, the will they, won't they love story of Hopper and Joyce that goes throughout the episode. Murray is fantastic again. I think he's a great side character. I hope he comes back in season 4 as well.
Oh, yes, please.
Bald Eagle has landed. Then we have...
the iconic Will, Mike, Lucas, Elle, and Max.
Yeah, and even that group is really broken up into 2 separate groups, because we have what I thought was really fun.
I feel like Nancy and Jonathan could be moved here.
Well, they get into that group at the hospital. But I like the episode where Elle and Max actually become friends, and they have like a girls' club, and they go to the mall, and they have that... It's not that they weren't friends, it's just that Elle had never really branched off away from Mike.
Yeah.
So here, she gets offended by Mike. Mike lies to her because he's scared of Hopper. And she goes off, and her and Max become friends. They have that episode where they go to the mall and go shopping, which was a lot of fun.
It's like one of my favorite episodes.
That's going to be you in like a year and a half.
With like...
You and your friends, and you're going to be like trying on clothes and everything.
Like,
I know. Wonderful. I really like that group. I mean, this group is more of just teenage angst. It's a bunch of relationship drama that you get, which you can't be angry about, because these are the characters we've grown up with for 2 seasons already. They have 2 different relationships. Poor Will is like desperate to just play D&D, and he's watching his friends kind of grow up around him.
Lucas and Max don't really do anything. They're kind of just like that couple who just like don't do anything with each other. They just like are best friends.
Well, Lucas also spends a lot of time trying to like help Mike find gifts for Elle, which is funny because they go to the mall with like $3.50. They walk into the jewelry store to buy like that gold bear, and they walk out because they're angry it's $300. I think that's great. Oh, and then, yes, like Charlotte said, the last group is really just the pair of Jonathan and Nancy. Nancy's actually incredibly important.
Billy.
Well, Billy's not he's
Billy's
a villain.
not in a group. He's just a villain.
Nancy and Jonathan work for the Hawkins Post, and she is desperate to be taken seriously as a journalist. She's consistently mocked by the older adults there, the adult males. They call her Nancy Drew. She decides to take it upon herself to investigate this epidemic of rats who might be sick, who are eating chemicals, and that's what uncovers the whole plot of the Mind Flayer, to like get these people to ingest all these chemicals and then go to where it is like building up its power, and the Mind Flayer is controlling all of these people within the town of Hawkins. They would eventually get together with the kid group at the hospital in a great scene where we finally see the Mind Flayer for the first time, like live in the flesh as a monster. Again, my issue with the Mind Flayer is not the look of the character. It looks awesome as a monster. It's just that it's highly ineffective as a monster. It doesn't kill any of the main characters. It growls at the screen a lot without, Elle easily defeats it a couple of times. Even Jonathan and Nancy are able to defeat the Mind Flayer with like axes and weapons at the hospital.
The funniest part, one of the funniest parts about season 3 is just Robin and Steve drugged.
Oh my God. The Russians, yes. So the Russians find Steve and Robin while Erica and Dustin are hiding out.
Kids are better.
And they drug them with like truth serum, and they're I think they might be my favorite part. That group, the Dustin, Robin, Erica, Steve contingent in this season is easily my favorite. I would do a spinoff of just Steve and Dustin having adventures. I think would be an amazing short Netflix series.
In season 1 as well.
I think their bond is really explored. Like they become best friends, like weird best friends in season 2, and then it just gets better here. And them on drugs, them being drugged by the Russians and then escaping. They have this great like moment in a bathroom where they're both throwing up, and then they both like tell each other a bunch of like truths about themselves.
I think we threw it all up.
Yeah, I really do love those two characters. And this all leads up. Oh, here's what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about the mall, because one of the biggest characters in season 3 is not actually a person. It's the Starcourt Mall.
Starcourt Mall.
When I was a kid, not too much older than you, you're going to be 12 this year, so probably when I was 13 to 15.
46.
One of the places that like I started to go with my friends on the weekends was the mall.
Was it called the Starcourt Mall?
No, it was called King's Plaza.
Oh.
But then when I got older and I got my driver's license, we would start to go to malls out on Long Island or malls in Staten Island, and going to the mall and just with you don't go to the mall when you were younger, when you were like in my generation, you didn't go to the mall to buy something. You just went to the mall. It was like a social thing.
Yeah.
You went, there were like 5 to 10 stores that you always went in, and then maybe one person you were with went into a different store. You went to the food court. And you just hung around. You met people that you didn't expect to see. Going to the mall was an event. And your generation doesn't really have that, because malls are like a dying thing. So what did you think watching this show? If there was a Starcourt Mall or something similar to that, would you and your friends like to go there?
Yeah, because I would get ice cream from Steve Harrington.
You'd go to Scoops Ahoy. Well, in the mall, when I used to go, Mom will tell you, there was the cookie house. Yeah. In King's Plaza, there was a cookie house.
There's a hidden movie theater. Or not hidden, but like there's a secret entranceway to a movie theater.
Well, when I was a kid, the mall had a movie theater. I remember going to see several movies there. The last movie I think I ever saw in the Kings Plaza movie theater was The Blair Witch Project, which was an event when I was a kid. That was 19...
Behind the stores in Kings Plaza looks exactly like behind the stores in Starcourt Mall.
Yep. My wife used to work at Kings Plaza, so she knows. She knows the secret hiding spots in the back of the stores, the inner workings. One time at the Staten Island Mall, I actually had I had to go to security, and I actually went into those corridors, and I think all malls look pretty much the same. But rewatching this show made me miss mall culture and like go all those times that I spent going to the mall.
It always made me want to be born in like the late 70s or like early 80s, like you.
Yeah.
So that I can like live.
Yeah, I wish I was born a few years earlier so that I would have gotten to really experience the early 80s more.
I feel like
I was born in the early 80s, so I didn't really get to do anything in the 80s until I was like 7.
I feel like the 80s and 90s are the most popular / most like fun like decades of the 1900s.
Well, I think that this show really captures one of the things that this show captures, the way that the Goonies did and other movies from the early 80s and mid 80s, is it shows you just how much freedom kids had. Like, you know, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have, you know, as a parent, you just kind of trusted your kid would get on a bike and go somewhere and they'd be back sometime. And, you know, I remember Grandma and Grandpa were always they weren't strict, but they always wanted me to at least call them from a payphone and check in if I was going to be home past a certain time. But if I, as long as I called them, I was able to stay out as late as I wanted. But, you know, they didn't. Now, if you and Brandon go out, Mommy and I can just find my iPhone and we can say, oh, there they are. And if you're not calling us or checking your text, we can press a button and it'll make your phone vibrate. And you go, oh, I got to call my parents. Whereas when I was a kid, we didn't have that. It was just, all right, out, get on a bike.
Bye.
Yeah, get on a bike.
See ya.
Go somewhere, go wait for a bus, take the bus to the mall, and you come home 5-6 hours later, and that was it. Yeah. So what do you have a favorite part or moment from this season before we finish this up?
I have to say a funny part was when Steve and Robin were drugged. But I also loved the nerd scene with Dustin and Erica. Just like the ending part where like, the supermarket. When they were in the supermarket and Lucas was drinking new Coke, they had fireworks.
Yeah, the fireworks.
Max was being the mom.
True. I thought, you know, overall season 3 is pretty much right behind season 1 for me in terms of... it's your favorite?
It's the absolute best.
Well,
My favorite too.
Hopefully we could look back and talk about how great season 4 is. May 27th, season 4 hits Netflix. And I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see what role Robert Englund plays. And you can come right back here to the Lassercast because we're going to be talking about season 4. Hopefully we can get Pete and Pepper on to discuss the first couple of episodes of season 4 with us. What else do we have coming up? If you go over to Comic Books Transformed, Pete, Brian, and I did, we had a long talk about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which has a lot of horror elements to it, so I think you'll like that. And here on the Lassercast, I have reviews of the new HBO Max series, The Baby, episodes 1 and 2. I have a review of Cursed Films, all the episodes that are up on Shudder.
Oh, and maybe we'll do something about the History of Horror season that just came
out. Yeah, History of Horror season 3 just went up on Shudder. Episode 1 was about the best sequels ever, including We're the Dream Warriors. Maybe Charlotte and I will do a couple of reviews about that. But this has been Danny.
And Charlotte.
Watching Stranger Things for the Lassercast. Tune in May 27th for season 4.